love the new women. I know the new women. They're great, aren't they? You know, the new ones we've been seeing lately. The ones with beards and they're as good as gold. I love them. What about this person isn't a lady? Well, his penis. Her penis, you fucking bigot. What if he rapes me? What if she rapes you? You fucking turf whore.
When I come on here, I'm not allowed to swear, right? That's the deal. So no swearing.
You can. You just have to apologise.
But I won't come back. I think if I say the F word, I might not be invited back. So when you go on television, there are rules. There's watershed. There's things you can't say. So we all agree that there are some things you can and can't say in some contexts. I think you're doing some quite complicated sort of mental arithmetic to offset the fact that people didn't think you were funny. I think the reality is
these students saw me performing at top secret comedy club. I was invited by these students who saw me perform. All they needed to say to me was, please do the same set that we saw you perform at Top Secret, one of the most reputable comedy clubs in the country.
With Hollywood and mainstream media in their pockets, the woke virus has set itself against the beautiful practice of stand-up comedy, using the pretense of offense and a distaste for hate speech to try to control and monitor what people are allowed to hear and laugh at. But this system of hypocrisy and bias has witnessed a pushback, as comedians are not willing to suffer this woke invasion without standing up for their craft. From verbal beatdowns to comedians going haywire against the flawed logic of the woke left, here are moments where the woke culture was put in its place by famous comedians. Curious to experience this? Let's get stat into it. Starting immediately with is an interview on the Good Morning Britain show. Piers Morgan and a host of journalists interviewed comedian Konstantin Kisin on his take on the sudden rise of offense among university students with regards to his comedy sessions.
Signing this contract, you are agreeing to our no-tolerance policy with regards to racism, sexism, classism, ageism, homophobia, biphobia, transphobia, xenophobia,
it's gonna take a while,
Islamophobia, or anti-religion or anti-atheism. You basically couldn't do a joke about anything.
And it says that all jokes must be respectful and kind.
Right. Since when was comedy supposed to be respectful and kind?
I'd have to walk away from this programme if that was the case.
Right. Exactly. The whole point of comedy is it sort of sends things up and people up.
Konstantin is a bold and daring comic who isn't scared of pushing boundaries with his works, and he certainly wasn't willing to pander to the woke narrative, which he was being demanded to confirm by the so-called progressive left.
Where a comedian called Nimesh Patel, a very progressive woke comedian, went on stage at a student gig. He was doing these very progressive woke jokes, and the student audience, decided to misinterpret his jokes and call him racist, the second-generation Indian American, take him off stage and label him for the rest of his life as a racist.
Right.
This is what happens. I'll give you this one example very quickly. I was on stage in a comedy club a few months ago as a Russian comedian talking about American politics. And this American guy stands up and he goes, "The problem with Russians is you don't understand democracy." You're laughing at my American accent there, right? And I said, what do you mean? Got Trump elected, didn't we? Right. Now, it's a joke. I don't have any idea whether Russia got Trump elected or not. But if you're one of these woke students, you probably think that Donald Trump is a white supremacist. Yep. So what I've literally...
But political jokes against Trump are OK.
Yeah, absolutely. But what you think when you hear that joke is...
Konstantin gave valid points to break down where jokes aren't supposed to be taken literally, something that was pretty much common knowledge before the age of the woke media. And as expected, he was interrupted by a woke journalist who felt the need to air the same overused rhetoric used by all woke people.
When it's just a joke. I have no idea. I've never met Donald Trump. It's ridiculous.
I think you're doing some quite complicated sort of mental arithmetic to offset the fact that people didn't think you were funny. I think the reality is...
These students saw me performing at Top Secret Comedy Club, one of the best comedy clubs in the country, and invited me to come on their charity gig.
But I'm not going to stop talking.
Okay.
So if you wait, you had your go, I'll have my go.
Okay.
Okay. When I come on here, I'm not allowed to swear, right? That's the deal. So no swearing.
You can. You just have to apologise.
But I won't come back. I think if I say the F word, I might not be invited back. So when you go on television, there are rules. There's watershed. There's things you can't say. So we all agree that there are some things you can and can't say in some contexts. What this is a negotiation about what you can say where. Whoever pays the piper calls the tune.
He couldn't say anything about anything.
So ask one. Well, if you're a really good comedian, you can be funny without being offensive.
You can't even do old jokes.
There's lots of people who can be funny without being offensive.
I was invited. I was funny, and that's why they invited me on the show.
What kind of joke do you find funny?
I find really offensive humour very funny, personally.
You do?
I like really, really rude humour.
I'm outraged.
But I go and see it because I know that's what I'm getting myself into. I've made the choice to go and see somebody who pushes the boundaries.
So have these.
But on a student-sanctioned, on a university event, you can't have...
Agree with
You
that
don't
point
want
of
to
view.
do
You wouldn't
this
make a
gig.
racist joke.
No, of course not.
No, so there are some limits.
There are some
then,
things that
aren't
you
there?
think aren't okay. So make it a
But
gay,
where
a gay
are these
joke's
racist
okay.
comedians?
Are gay jokes okay?
When have you
Are
heard...
gay jokes okay?
When have
gay jokes
When
okay?
have you heard a comedian go on stage in the last 10 years on television,
At the
for
Edinburgh
example,
Fringe,
and
I
tell
heard
a racist
so many
joke?
at the Edinburgh Fringe, I heard so many racist jokes. Now, admittedly,
haven't seen
these
any
are
of
pretty
these racist
bargain
comedians.
basement comedians,
But
but they still
hang on,
exist.
Constantine, so you agree with the...
At the end of the day, only very few in the woke camp can actually be convinced with logic and reasoning, because most of the beliefs and ideologies which they hold so dear aren't even supposed to be held by any person of reason. No one needs to be advised to vote against men playing in women's sports. No one needs to be told that female bathrooms are supposed to be off-limits to dudes. But it is what it is. We can only be glad that a few people are speaking up to this issue. Speaking of trans people, here is a very interesting clip where the iconic British comedian and actor Ricky Gervais gave his flawless takes on the so-called rights of trans people.
Oh, women. Not all women. I mean the old-fashioned ones. You know, the old-fashioned women. Oh, God. You know, the ones with wombs. Oh. Those fucking dinosaurs. No, I love the new women. I know the new women. They're great, aren't they? You know, the new ones we've been seeing lately. The ones with beards and cocks. They're as good as... They're as good as gold. I love them.
It's funny how there has been a cry for feminist rights for decades, and just when it appears to be gaining a little ground, the joy of it becomes eroded by the waves of trans women who are clamoring for female spaces.
And now the old-fashioned... They go like, oh, they want to use our toilets. Why shouldn't they use your toilets? For ladies. They are ladies. Look at their pronouns. What about this person isn't a lady? Well, his penis. Her penis, you fucking bigot. What if he rapes me? What if she rapes you? You fucking turf.
Here is a video of Ricky Gervais on The View, where he gave a very interesting take on the subject of offense in comedy and even society.
They're a sort of government body, so they fear complaints, but live, no, anything, it's just, no.
Well, when you go on the Golden Globes, a lot of time you are politically incorrect and hilarious, of course.
Thank you.
And so,
Thank you.
So this is,
Well,
yeah,
well, that's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that, just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right, you know? It's... offence is about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people are offended by equality. So what? You know, so you can't second-guess people. If you try and please everyone, you'll please no one. With comedy as well, I think you've got to deal with taboos and contentious issues, and sometimes you deal in irony, and some people don't get that, but, you know, you can't legislate against stupidity, otherwise you'll be doing nothing. So if you're saying anything, you should polarise. You should polarise, because everyone's different, so...
But this year you didn't host, and do you miss the fact that this was a Weinstein?
Next up, we have movie star and comedian Rob Schneider, who has had his own share of the woke culture, a former Democrat who got absolutely tired of the media policing and threats of cancellation. He had very interesting things to say about woke culture, and most are just hilarious to watch.
I'm a traditional liberal, which apparently makes me a right-winger these days. Traditional liberalism, women's rights, gay rights, civil rights, not judging a person by the color of their skin, free speech, these are now conservative values. So much has changed so rapidly. It's only been a couple of years since we've learned that women could have dicks. If you speak your mind in Hollywood, you go from playing the bad guy in Spider-Man to Naked and Alone, Celebrity Edition. Back from an LGBTQ plus rally for Hamas. I invited them all to a KKK rally for Black Lives Matter. And then to an underage minors fundraiser for pedophiles. Just got back from California. Grocery shopping in California takes forever. You just go, excuse me, can I get somebody to unlock the bananas? Because I'm low on potassium.
Rob, even in his stand-up shows, doesn't miss out on the chance to throw a few jabs at the woke culture. He can't be blamed for this, because the woke left has a lot of insane materials for comedians to work with.
It's not easy being a liberal. It's not. It's sad. You see them alone in their cars with their masks on.
Here's an interview where Rob completely opened his heart to talk about his issues with the woke left and how much he and his family got affected from the madness while in the state of California.
Be on the couch.
Thank you. It's
used
good
to walk
be.
across the street. What's your reaction to Tulsi Gabbard doing what she did yesterday?
It shouldn't be such a shock. We don't get 10 parties. You get 2,
right.
You know? And I really feel I don't want the Democratic Party trying to run my life, and there's not one aspect of your life that they don't want to interfere with. So I had it with them. So I got out of California, I moved to the slightly freer state of Arizona.
Slightly. Your journey is similar, though. You were a Democrat, and then
you have to be in San Francisco.
Of course. So
yeah.
What was it that changed your point of view?
Well, literally, there wasn't. Taxes. there wasn't one part of business. Newsom pushed me over the edge.
Right.
It's just like I just don't think your life gets better there. It gets worse. You know what it was? It was like there was in San Francisco. They said you had to remove. I was living in San Francisco. I had it made there. It's like it's on the cable car and everything. I had a rooftop. This is the place where I'm going to live forever. And they said you have to have the toilets removed from your house. And I said what? What? I don't have toilets in front of my house. It was flower pots.
Right.
They made me remove all the flower pots. So it just got crazier and crazier. And maybe I'm looking at this all wrong. San Francisco either has a huge homeless problem or a gigantic camping success story. So you have to look at it both ways.
What made you want to be so bold and so vocal about it? Because Tulsi said, if you don't agree with the Democratic Party, you're trashed, you're canceled.
Yes. So absolutely, she's right.
Do you worry about that, getting jobs?
Yes, of course you are. Yeah. As an actor, you're always coming from a place of trying to get work. But at a certain point, you have to worry about, I'm in my 50s now, late 50s. It's going to catch you too, Brian. But, no, yeah, I worry more about, the freedoms of my kids. Yeah. I'm a grandfather now.
Right.
And so, I do at a certain point, you have to put, it's really weird. Well, something's wrong. When people say, if you put God and family and country first, that's somehow controversial.
Right.
How is that controversial?
Or a flag is triggering.
Yeah. So
right.
I think at a certain point you have to say enough of this and stand up to it.
Did you lose friends?
I would say people that don't return my calls as often. But to be honest with you, a lot of people that I'm friends with in Hollywood, they lean towards the right, but they're just scared of it because it really is like a mob of ideologues that just that you feel they will attack you, and it's really not necessarily based in anything but there's almost like a religious architecture in their thinking.
So when it comes to changing party, to quote one of your characters, you can do it.
You can do it.
Right.
You have to go with what feels right for you. We get 2 parties. We don't get 10.
Sure.
And I want to, have a party that represents my core values.
And you were talking a moment ago about your family. You actually, so you've got this brand new movie out, opens wide this Friday. It's called Daddy Daughter Trip. Your actual daughter is playing your seatmate in the front seat of a car.
Yeah. She, well, first of all, we started trying to make the movie years ago, and by the time we were getting closer, my daughter was about, old enough to play the part. She started looking over and she said, well, who's going to play that role? And we were writing, my wife and I, Patricia. And she said, well, you're getting close to the age. And so she started coming up with it. And then she was great. I didn't have to give her notes. She's basically like my daughter, Elle.
Going back a few decades, we look at the comedy legend Patrice O'Neal completely destroying woke culture. But the fact is, even he wasn't expecting the cancel culture and speech policing to get to the stage that it has become today.
I don't know her, but I'm assuming that she has nothing to do with funny. So I'm going to speak as the expert on funny. Funny people should just be left to trying to be funny.
What if they're not funny?
Then you made a mistake. But how many times has how many unfunny rape jokes lead to rape?
I don't know how many jokes about rape there are.
There's a lot. But your world is not funny. Your world is next on the big story. My world is people trying to be funny.
Well, I mean, Patrice began by defending the idea that jokes should be allowed to be jokes. Comedy is one of the few mediums where normal sensitive issues can be talked about and even laughed about. And although his case was something actually sensitive, most jokes being attacked today are not even sensitive issues, but day-to-day concepts like gender, religion, and politics.
And you're not going to get paid as much money anymore.
Sonia and Patrice,
That's
look
what
at
it
this.
is. The marketplace
More
is
CBS
speaking.
radio firings. They've been on a tear lately.
All right.
Are they cleaning house, or is this the PC cops run amok?
You know what it is, John. You know what it is while you're reading that paper. It's the PC cops run amok.
Do you think she's a PC cop?
Of course she is. She has an entire encyclopedia of her stance on it, but it's no passion involved. It's not a real, this is just what she has to say. We are outraged and fired and fired and fired. Name calling. I'm outraged. I am outraged.
You should be.
I am a fool. Now, if I called you a fool,
You know what? People are feeling a new sense of entitlement.
Who are these
to
people?
decency in this country?
Who are the people?
A new
How can
sense
you,
of entitlement
Patrice, so
to
here's my question. How can you justify a bad joke, a joke that isn't funny? Oh, wait a minute. Go ahead. An attempt that isn't funny, doesn't get any laughs, and is about raping the first black woman to ever become the Secretary of State of the United States.
Throw that at me.
Well, why not?
The attempt is what I'm trying to fight for. The joke funny jokes and unfunny jokes are come out of the same birth. That you don't know if anything is going to be funny. You should attempt to be able to make anything funny.
Don't you think a joke about rape is doomed to be not funny?
It's possible, but I've heard them.
You've heard a funny rape joke?
I say a couple. Watch my HBO special. I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah, Patrice says that if you're having sex with a woman, doggy style, and if you hit her in the head just the right time.
No, it's ejaculate in her eye and kick her in the shin, and she walks around like, arg! It's the angry pirate. That's what she was trying to say.
A violent act of hitting her in the back of her head, her body.
It's called the donkey punch.
Which will then.
Why are you laughing? She's outraged. It's called the donkey punch. It's whole humor that she has no clue what it is.
We have the same problem that Opie and Anthony does. You can't say just anything on the air.
You can say anything you want. It might not be funny. You might get in trouble for it, but you should be able to be attempting. And plus, when is a crazy bum going to get an opportunity to rape the president? If the president's wife, John? It was trying to be funny.
All right, Patrice, why aren't I hearing Al Sharpton complain about this thing involving Congress?
Because it wasn't involving young black women.
Well, it's involving a very prominent black woman.
Well, where was she during young black? Everybody has their agenda.
I was there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, excuse me.
But why am I not hearing from Sharpton?
Because it doesn't concern him. It's not concerning him. It's black. Come on now. You know, Al Sharpton has his agenda, and it was perfect for Al. Young black women. And now she's representing just women in general. She's not representing the nappy hoe part. She's representing just the hoe. The nappy-headed part, she has nothing to do with. Just a hoe.
Our next stop is a video of Russell Brand, popular UK drug and sex addict turned Hollywood entertainment star and comedian, go all out on the Bill Maher show against the hypocrisy evident across the woke media, with an emphasis on MSNB.
John, I've not known you long, but I love you already. But I have to say that it's disingenuous to claim that the biases that are exhibited on Fox News are any different from the biases exhibited on MSNBC. It's difficult to suggest that these corporations operate as anything other than mouthpieces for their affiliate owners in BlackRock and Vanguard. And unless we start to embrace, and also, mate, like just spiritually, if I may use that word in your great country, we have to take responsibility for our own perspective. I've been on that MSNBC, mate. It was propagandist nutcrackery on there.
The bulk of the modern news media is a total display of propaganda and a biased reporting of one political viewpoint to another. It's safe to say that the woke news media is fake news, and that is what it has been for a long time.
Good
morning, Joe.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what it was. It wasn't morning. There was no one called Joe there. No one could concentrate. They didn't understand the basic tenets of journalism. No one was willing to stick up for genuine American heroes like Edward Snowden. No one was willing to talk about Julian Assange and what he's suffered trying to bring real journalism to the American people. And I think to sit within The castle of MSNBC throwing rocks at Fox News is ludicrous.
My friend,
make MSNBC better. Make MSNBC great again.
My friend, I would. The moment
fight them on a territory you can win on, Joe.
Russell, darling, the moment that you give me a specific example. An actual example.
Okay, I'll give you one.
Wait, just wait.
Wait,
Just
let me a specific example.
How about a specific? Let me tell you what the specific I'd like to hear of. I'd like to hear a specific example, a provable specific example of an MSNBC correspondent or anchor being on television saying something they knew was false, and we're saying behind the scenes to people, I'm about to go out, and we know that the election wasn't stolen,
You've
or something
illustrated this
equivalent.
example.
But I will go out on television and say the
Okay.
opposite. I will lie.
When's my answer?
Just give me the specific example.
I understand the basic point.
Give me a specific example.
All right.
I'm with you. I think it's a false equivalency, Russell.
It's a
No, it's not. That's your own biases, plainly.
It's not about bias. It's a false equivalency because you don't actually know anything about any of these organizations you're talking about. You've been on MSNBC once. Big fucking deal.
My darling, it was more than enough.
You can't come up with
such a
you
carry-on.
don't have a single actual fact.
Do you want an example? Do you want an example?
Yes.
The ludicrous, outrageous criticisms of Joe Rogan around ivermectin, deliberately referring to it as a horse medicine when they know it's an effective medicine.
Yeah, that's
What
not a bad
Rachel
example.
Maddow turning up on the TV saying if you take this vaccine, you're not going to get it when it hadn't been clinically trialed for transmission.
Non-responsive.
You have to listen.
Wait.
Do you think you can
not a
improve
response.
America
I
by
think we could all
determinedly
be
and
better.
avowedly condemning Fox News without acknowledging that you're participating in the same game? Did you not just listen to Bernie Sanders, someone who plainly, legitimately believes in this country and believes it's possible to change, but is bound by corruption?
Me, so I'm looking forward to whoever the fuck it's going to be.
Now, you have a child. Are you raising your child
Not
with
at all.
a gender pronoun?
Not at all.
Okay, so
not at all.
Gender
I
neutral.
don't even know.
You're doing gender neutral.
I just throw food
into a room
in the general direction.
Are you raising your child by the gender binary?
Or
Are
is
you
it-
calling her
having
she?
Or is it
her?
Zim, Ziz?
No,
Zimze?
I would never do that to my kid.
Making
I get into something, right?
Yeah.
I always get into shit, and then a year later, I don't give a fuck about it. This kid has like a developing brain. I'm gonna dump like my my own constitution of shit on. Like I just feel like that is like adult stuff, and you should allow kids to be kids.
Oh, I
let
agree.
them just can they have a fucking child? Because right now, what I love about when I grew up was I was allowed to be a kid.
Bill Burr couldn't have said it any better than he did on this podcast. The woke media needs to allow kids to just be kids and stop this evil mass indoctrination of children into woke ideologies.
The stuff that these fucking kids could see, any beheadings, hardcore
Horrible.
porn, all of this shit that they could have access to. So I would never have like some sort of political agenda as to way.
But are you going to force your child to be recognized as female?
a girl, yeah.
Or are you going to say like you get to choose your gender later?
What do you mean force my kid to be recognized? My kid's a
Well,
girl.
No, that's
That's what I'm saying.
Subjective now.
Yeah.
You didn't know that? You're actually, it's kind of a form of child abuse if you
To make your
them
child
have a
be-
gender.
just because their sexual organs are females.
Well, I don't agree with that, and good luck to how you want to raise your kid, and I'm going to raise my kid the way I want to.
The woke BS has left the stage where it could be ignored when it began to come for children. Kids should be off limits to whatever crazy agenda these people have, but it seems they appear to be the main targets for this people, and we can only be glad that not everyone share their point of view.
Society, you're like, dude,
Because people are choosing self-preservation over logic.
Chicken shits over common
Yeah, and the
sense,
sky
yeah.
is falling, and it's a fucking acorn on
Yeah.
your head. And I'm not saying that all of that hen shit is bullshit. It's like what they're trying to do is a good thing. Their heart is in the right place, but to then become like this fucking fist that is just beating on people.
Like everyone else has to do.
Yeah, that's if I'm cool with you doing it and I'm doing it my way and I'm not forcing you to do it my way, then
This final clip just has to be on this list. It's the time where Rick Gervais completely destroyed the woke media on the 2020 Golden Globe Award.
Hello and welcome to the 77th Annual Golden Globe Awards, live from the Beverly Hilton Hotel here in Los Angeles. I'm Ricky Gervais, thank you. You'll be pleased to know this is the last time I'm hosting these awards, so I don't care anymore. I'm joking, I never did.
His take on the cancellation that was meted out on Kelvin Hart was utterly hilarious. Apparently, homosexuals aren't supposed to be talked about in comedy.
So, I mean, Kevin Hart was fired from the Oscars because of some offensive tweets. Hello? Lucky for me, the Hollywood Foreign Press can barely speak English, and they've no idea what Twitter is. So I got offered this gig by fax. So let's go out with a bang. Let's have a laugh at your expense, shall we? Remember, they're just jokes. We're all going to die soon, and there's no sequel. So, yeah, remember that. But you all look lovely, all dolled up. You came here in your limos. I came here in a limo tonight, and the license plate was made by Felicity Huffman. So, no, shush. It's her daughter I feel sorry for, okay? That must be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to her. And her dad was in Wild Hogs. So, lots of big celebrities here tonight. I mean, legends, icons.
Gervais touched on the hypocrisy rancid amongst the big players in Hollywood movie production. Their fight for the inclusion and equal representation of minorities in movies has become a thing. These days, talents isn't much of a requirement to get a role in a Hollywood movie. What matters most is your placement on the American identity politics.
Or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of their
I
side
get
of
that,
it,
but
know?
it's like I didn't come up with the way, and I never told you to do it your way.
I know.
But then it's also like that would just be like, somebody murdered my family, so now I'm going to go out and start murdering other people's families.
Right.
That'd be fun.
And then I'd be like, then I'm right.
How happy
We
he got.
use he for them. Sometimes it's mixed, and it depends, because in Sweden we have hen, the gender-neutral pronoun in Swedish. I think Mika has always said when I've asked, it's been she or hen.
So the other thing is you could also do changing pronouns if you wanted to do that with your child. Like let them...
I don't think I've ever given a shit less about a topic. If this is what people want to do, go ahead and do it. But, there's like certain things, like you just, certain things you come in, you're like, hey, there's a lot of stuff in education that blows my mind that people are talking about that but I am open to everything.
That's it for today, guys. If you liked this video, then check out our other videos.